Alright, so this video is about heterosexuality and, you know, the pros and cons as it applies to my life. I'm 30 years old, turned 30 years old, December 5th, 2022 this year. And this is a union, a dynamic, as I said, a union. But this is definitely I guess, a connection that I have to worry about based off my own life. The idea of heterosexuality promotes the idea that basically there is a rebellious nature in women that actually aren't conformed to it. So what I have to worry about is, as a kid, understanding history. And I once heard somebody say that summertime, is a representation. Like when people go to school, you know how people go to school year round, things like that. School is solely up to you. Like school is something that you do. Schooling, getting an education is something that you do for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Schooling is just a playground for interacting with other people's souls and perhaps, you know, making connections to where you may be able to benefit your life's well-being by associating with people. You got middle school, elementary school, high school, college. So you can basically build accreditation while people observe you learning things and actually confirm and verify that you actually know what you're talking about, and you see what kind of skills you build from that, and that you're actually learning on the same in the at the same pace. So what I have to learn about as far as heterosexuality, since I'm not in love with a man or and whatnot, I believe that, growing up, that was the challenge. Somebody told me that they wanted to force my hand, depending on how much knowledge you've applied, because, you'll just never know. Because when you're growing up, and let's say you're in a classroom, if you can convince a teacher that you understand a certain amount of information over another kid, that could be their way of developing superiority over you. That's why where a lot of my stress comes from. Being in a controlled environment. I didn't grow up, being watched too much, and I can't blame my parents for, what has happened to me so far in life. I have to deal with heterosexuality, and I have to deal with the reality that I experienced sexuality at an early age, and I'm so far gone to the point where I'm not sure if I did it on my own or not. And I know for a fact that I didn't, because if that was the case, I would have had a family and everything. That's why I'm like, these people that have families, they choose to go to work and do all this. Because at this point, I'm like, straight people want to have fun too. Being a single person is basically something that you want to do, you know, basically a choice that you make. But when you come from dysfunction, there are going to be things that you can't do simply because people are plotting on your downfall. Once you're born into this earth, there may be some barriers, there may be some standards that are put up against the way your life is flowing, so you can't do things that you want to. I realized that once I realized that I was a female, I realized that there were certain things that I wasn't going to be able to was not going to be able to do based off that fact, based off the social treatment that I was receiving. So I'm like, okay, you know, financial stability is something that most heterosexual people want. And I'm realizing that, you know, people really do grow up in neighborhoods, and once they have kids and stuff, they really are forming a bond, and you really have to take that into consideration. I can't sit here and tell you that I really want to be someone's sideline hoe. I'm not saying that there's not a profit off of all this drama, because that is an actual avenue, you know what I'm saying, that you can get into. Making movies about the things that you go through can be a detox for you, because you can make a profit out of it, or you can actually, you know, get some feedback to where, you know, you have this creative aspect. I had to make a choice growing up whether I was going to defend myself or not. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot more reading to do, you know, and it's the more I learn, the more, you know, I just kind of get mad about the reality of my womanhood, because I'm like, in reality, you know, a lot of these people that I grew up around really did gang up on me simply because of that fact, because of heterosexualism. This is something that you are naturally going to be viewed as when you're born on this earth. You're going to live in environments where you're having to conform to the idea of being a woman, you know. I was just saying in one of my previous videos, that's probably why they have all girls schools, and you can't help what realms of financial status that you're born into. You know, this whole concept of having swag and, you know, really having money and stuff, it's something that really is the reason why I'm jealous of men. You know, I don't think that women look right, and that's why when I was a kid, when, you know, men would have girlfriends, I'm like, am I intelligent enough to uh be instinctive or intuitive with, do they really mean that? If a girl tells me that her boyfriend wants me dead simply because he hit licks, or he's trying to establish a boundary between him and others in their relationship, saying that I'm muscle and you cannot come between me and him, this is why I flipped out, because I couldn't respect polygamy when I was a kid, because I'm like, well, obviously, you know, this girl is cheating on you with this guy. You are not providing her something. She's missing something from her interaction or in relations to you. So this is the reason why I've spazzed out as far as heterosexuality go. Now, my opinion does not fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? I didn't expect to live this long because of this, you know, paradigm, because of this reality. You know, I worry about heterosexuality when I grow up, because I've experienced it to a certain degree. You know, that's why they have gangs. That's why they have, you know, cliques. That's, I was just saying in one of my previous videos, that the idea of submission, it's something that is a common sense thing for a lot of people. I see, like, on YouTube is my only resource right now for understanding, you know, certain things, and there aren't too many people that are exposing that idea. I don't even, you know, you will never know. Once you travel and stuff and just find resources, you'll understand how much, you know, how in depth a subject can get, and if people really are, you know, really exploring and lingering on a certain topic. And from just the little small videos I've seen, ain't nobody worried about all that shit. You know, at some point you gotta realize that if you are being bitched or belittled, you got to try not to be, I guess what they say, narcissistic, too prideful or whatever. Kevin Gates got a song called Pride. And that's what I was worried about when I was a kid, because the more I was learning about myself and the way I was being treated, I was I was thinking like, everybody has to make a sacrifice. Like the rich homie Quan son, like motherfucker might be worth more when they dead than alive, right? And Jemima and stuff, people making fun of people for being black, people for being Mexican, whatever. But at some point, I don't give a fuck how bad of a person you are, you're going to leave some type of legacy. People will appreciate you dead or alive. Motherfucker will be like, shit, that motherfucker was alive. She was a bad person, but shit, without Aunt Jemima, goddamn, I wouldn't be eating this goddamn pancakes with this syrup so goddamn good. I'm willing to overlook that. Me trying to appreciate my identity as a black woman and seeing the way that people were treating me, I'm like, it just makes sense. I'm not knowledgeable about too many things. It makes sense for me to be jealous of men. And I said, growing up, I have this stigma on certain people that act a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was saying, like, it just seemed to me, if women are, the way that certain women are acting, regardless if they have babies or anything, I can tell when a woman seems to be jealous of a man's lifestyle, or a lifestyle that promotes, the idea that it's more common thing among men than women. We live in a world where, it is a man's world. And once you start experiencing inferiority, you got to make a choice to be mature or move forward with your life. A lot of men I grew up around really wanted to protect their identity as men, and they began to make threats. It didn't have to be a direct threat. It could have been a threatening tone. It could have been, I've got a baby on the way. She's not respecting it. At some point when I was seeing the kids have babies and stuff, I was not relating to them. I was not, I was actually very heated or mad about the situation. I really was very, you know, I guess, opposed to the situation naturally, emotionally. Because you don't know, when you go to school, you don't know what people are going through in their household. I grew up with my cousin sticking his whole penis in me and shit. Things like that will make you reject yourself, make you reject. It's embarrassing, it's humiliating, and it's something that I often wonder why, right? I said, life is like, my life has been like an experiment. There has been some uncontrolled variables. What do you do about those uncontrolled variables? Because without, science and stuff and people experimenting, we wouldn't even have the knowledge that we have today. Sometimes in life, things are an experiment, and you really have to, you know, hope that the outcome is positive. Now, I guess part of being viewed as a narcissist is supposed to be a more selfish nature way of feeling or thinking. That's why people in my school was sitting there ganging up on me, because they really viewed me as a narcissist because of a man having an orgasm in me, and me really wanted to, detach away from that situation and be in control, and really wanted to reverse that situation and really feeling out of control of my life because of people really knowing that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I would encourage anybody born on this earth today, please watch your children. Do not let a human being have an orgasm, because once they do, it if they're not in a loving relationship that's, substantial, it can it will mess it will mess you up emotionally. Please, learning things, polygamy, men having more than one wives, and just depending on what environment you come from. It just depends on how you raise. I'm coming from an environment to where nobody's close, and it is because of sexual abuse. Sexual abuse has ran my household since I was a kid, and I never knew what to do with it. I had people pulling guns out on me saying that I had an inbred mentality and wanting to prove that to society as a whole. And it's for me to be an intellect and understand were they doing that on purpose or were they really doing that from the heart to prove a point. Like, listen, you have no room to judge us. We have kids and stuff, and yes, we are prepared for this, but you are not a threat to this. I think that's what they were trying to tell me. So while I'm watching people form bonds and stuff as a single person, I'm like, look at the way my mom's being treated. She's a baby mama. We've all got some. There's a lot of ideologies out here that we have to conform to based off the fate of our life. I mean, I'm pretty sure my mom had common sense. She probably expected if you see a person that attracts a lot of people or gets a lot of submission, she may have expected to be a baby mom. You know, she has two kids by a guy that lost both his parents. So, me being the naive child that I am and that I was, or however, just being optimistic, was my mom really trapped in a situation to where she had to submit to somebody else's struggle? Because growing up, I heard a lot of people saying that you don't have a struggle to me. That's why they're forming gangs and bonds and things of that nature to actually promote the idea that I've got some very important things going on in my life and some uncontrolled variables in my life going on. Do you respect me or not? It's hard when you're growing up and you're a single child. Now, let's say single woman, single man, single child. I mean, how do you feel? It's hard for me to get good sleep at night because of the idea of my cousin having sex with me. That's something that, really, I almost killed myself over because I have to live with that thought. It's negative. I working at McDonald's and Walmart now, and I seen somebody pull up. A lot of, I said the concept of inbreeding. A lot of people do look alike to me, and you just never know. I encourage my little sisters actually not to have a significant other because it's not worth it. All those there's an idea of being a dyke out here. Like, there's a video I seen on YouTube, a nigga be like, I can't stand these dykes, and I'm like, I gotta study this shit. Like, do niggas really just hate this whole, mentality of a woman not wanting to be with a man? Period. Motherfucker be like, shit, you already busted a nut. There's the pimp culture and all this shit. You already da 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 da. You can't really live the lifestyle of a man. And that's my thing. I'm like, I'm gonna die like a man either way it go. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really sure when that moment is going to be or how I feel, but I expect for this heterosexual identity out here, I expect to die because of that. And I expect people to use it to their advantage. They will. I'm in a heterosexual relationship with a man, and let's go up there and petition against this dyke or this woman that doesn't want to be with a man. I be feeling sorry for bitches, like, on some real shit. When you're born into this world, you're not sure how much applied knowledge that people have and how true, factual, or unfactual the things that you're learning are. And somebody could have that advantage of you. They could really be experiencing, have hands-on experience with certain things and really know what they're doing. A lot of people, when it comes to, you know, committing homicide and all the dangerous things like that, when you realize you live in a world like that, you really don't know. You really have to like you have to have a lot of intellectual capacity to be intuitive, because somebody could say that they be catching bodies and they could completely be lying and saying, well, I really just work a 9 to 5 and I want to see how strong your mind is or not, to see how crazy you are. Because if I've got kids and stuff, I don't want them to be hanging around psychopathic people like you. I grew up around psychopaths, so my family that I grew up around, that's what they'll tell you. Shit, I used to just go around the projects or the neighborhood and just kill people for no reason. People really rejected me for doing this, that, and the third. So, being that I had a cousin, you know what I'm saying? I'm so damn far gone. I'm not even sure, you know, how some of these people are doing or not. If you have kids, watch your kids. Watch your kids. Some people don't care though. You can tell by their household. You got the Nation of GD and shit. A lot of shit. Niggas like I have sex with my bitch in front of them. This whole, I guess you want to call it. Some people won't look at it as ghetto. Some people really view this as natural. But having sex in front of your kids promotes the idea that it's heterosexuality, and they'll be like, "Mom and Dad, I want to grow up one day and make love to my significant other, and I want to be da 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 da." But when you come from dysfunction, it's hard. There's a stigma on people like me, sexual abuse victims. That's what I was sitting there trying to tell my little sister. You will survive things, and people may or may not sympathize with you. Coming from a broken home, I have sisters. They may have cousins and all that shit from other places. One of my little sisters' dad is actually from Florida. One of my sister's daddy is from another neighborhood in Atlanta. Da, da, da. All these people have different family values and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? I cannot connect with them. That's why I worry about my life, because my mom got 3 different baby daddies and they're all raising their kids to be basically opposed to each other because of that fact. I live with my little sister now, and that's the reason why I don't get along with her. I mean, just simply, we all grew up with our parents sticking there having sex with us, except for our mom. Our mom didn't molest us, but our dads pretty much did teach us naturalism. You know, shit so real, motherfucker be like, well, I pretended to do that to my goddamn child and shit. It don't matter if you pretended or not. I guess the point they were trying to make is there are paradigms that some people form that some people don't. So, me being viewed as a narcissist because of somebody teaching me to be sexual at an early age, I would never. I'm gonna be an optimist and say my downfall wasn't plotted on, but I know for a fact that that's what it was. Because in reality, a lot of the kids that I grew up around was watching porn and everything like that. I mean, you can't help what you're exposed to. I had my dad married a lady, and she pretty much told me that. Well, I mean, her son pretty much had a porn collection that he got from his grandma's house. You gotta be careful. Stress on the brain is real. I was watching some videos about turmeric and milk. There's a skill to these things, warming up milk and things like that. So, you gotta hydrate yourself. I think that's my disadvantage. People really view me as a narcissist because of an orgasm that I had with a man, and it really was forced on me. when I was a kid, I was telling men that, basically, since you want to view me as a submissive and give me a heterosexual identity, I guess it just means that, you know, I'm helping you promote the idea of your manhood. And a lot of the men be telling me like you can't win with us men. Like in my mind, I'm like, I really feel like y'all trying too hard. In their mind, they not. It's about loyalty though. A lot of people grab people's loyalty and it's over with for the next person. Now that some of these women that grew up and had babies and shit like that, once them people started growing up and they was already having sex and shit, let's see what one of these bitches get pregnant. Now let's see what one of these bitches gonna cooperate. That's exactly what them niggas were doing. I took all that shit as disrespect. And some of them hoes did too. That's why some of these bitches is polygamy. Cause I'm like, they like, I can respect this nigga mind, but I can't respect that nigga mind. I seen it. That's what I watch bitches study each other like shit. That girl acting a little too boyish, or I can tell she jealous. I can tell by the way she act that she jealous of men. I'm sitting there forming inferiority complexes in my head because of that shit, and I'm like, man, hell nah. I feel overwhelmed. I just want to have fun in life. It ain't always like that though. It ain't always gonna be like that. People, you gotta learn for yourself. You'll just never know. You can see feed the homeless commercial. It's small things that count. Like when I be at work, men is a trigger for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't like rubbing on their hands, giving change back, and a lot of them are trying to see how much emotional control that I have. I'm like, because if you let them game you, if you let them run you over, they will. And that's what I was dealing with growing up, going to school. There are men that really have to protect what they've got established. They was already fucking and having sex. I was one of them kids having sex, but I wasn't having sex willingly. I'm gonna put it to you like that. Once I experienced an orgasm and a kid had a gun in his hand, it was over with. That was from that point forward, my downfall was being plotted on. Will I feel protected by this kid if I ever see him? No. Because in actuality, all them men was sexual as hell. And I just want, for future reference, these niggas to know that once some of these boys become sexual, it get out of hand. Look at this rap music. This shit real for me. I get mad every time I hear a nigga brag about a natural ego. But it's real though. Like, I was just watching the video of a nigga of an interview I just posted on my Facebook page of a nigga saying that, well, you at your purest form, the more you read, the smarter you grow. Like they say, it's simple. The things that you learn, you can either experiment with it or not. See if it's true. It's either yes or no. I don't think nothing wrong with smoking weed, especially if you understand horticulture and understand, it's like working at McDonald's, right? Depending on, a lot of people might say, well, let's see how much discipline they have. Stop eating meat for a long time so you don't smell like a grill. All right, then, since you don't smell like a grill, smoke a little marijuana to get that herbal smell flowing through your body, right? That's probably exactly why some people do indulge in smoking marijuana, because people are judgy by that. Well, I tend to store fat in my upper back region, but the advantage that I have is that I'm a woman. People really expect women to be curvaceous. They think it's a sense of normalcy that comes with my gender. But I don't think it's normal, just based off health wise. I think I'm storing fat in that area because I'm not moving that area enough. It's like not drinking enough water. When your veins start to pop out, nah, that means you may be exercising and stuff, but also understand that it may be a sign of dehydration depending the colors of them and all that stuff. But you just never know. I can't say that because the more you work out and stuff, you know, it can be a sign of dehydration. Like I said, I am not no expert, no advanced expert on. I'm not that knowledgeable about, the way that exercise affects everybody. But I know that when you're hydrated, you will have a different flow about yourself. You won't feel so stressed out. So that's why I'm saying any human being that's born to this earth, if you really want to stay at peace with yourself, make sure you don't experience an orgasm. Because that's part of the reason why I stress, and that's part of the reason why people hate me so damn much. And I'm like, some of these men are very disdainful about that. And some of them not. Some of them really are intellects, and you got to be like, well, no, it's natural. It really happens naturally. When that happens, we are part of the reason why people will understand it, the effects of it. And being that there is a butch mentality or a lesbian mentality, I, as a woman, have to know that, I may be being naive and realize that I could never really live, you know, to certain degrees of the lifestyle that some of these men live. Some of these men, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because, I'm on YouTube, and I'm not. It's not exposing every neighborhood in the whole world. Like, there are places where you can go where, you know, you have there. Every person is not exposing or exploiting their lifestyle on YouTube or whatever. Because that's all it is. Like, it's love though. People like Young Boy and stuff, you can really find detoxes for when you go through things by being a rapper or a poet or whatever the case is. People will test the waters. People will test you. That's one thing you'll learn. Like, growing up, I didn't know how to feel, understanding that there were people already saying that, well, shoot, you never know who owns that building or who's taking over that building. People could just show paperwork and just be like, man, I got a family, we taking over this shit, goodbye. I have to make a choice. If I don't have the means to defend myself, I have to make a choice. There was somebody that was being very passionate about my lack of submission to men, and was saying, well, we're going to keep you broke. Well, I don't think it really matters if you keep me broke. Well, I guess it's an intellectual decision, right? You're a woman, da 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 da. I'm like, it seems as though they really don't want to see women stunt. They want us to be womanly with it. And that's where I have to stop being so naive, because I'm like, I really do want to be a man, a nigga with money. I really do. But then this whole idea of being a dyke really rains on the parade of women. I mean, let's be honest, ladies. Let's be honest. We've got a lot to prove. We've got a lot of discrimination going on as far as our gender. We really, you know what I'm saying, when I see men and stuff do it, it really looks right to me. When I see a little Boosie dressed up and shit, and he rap it, I mean, I know niggas be rapping from their heart and shit. Everybody can't do it like everybody. I haven't, you know, been exposed to enough, or I haven't imputed enough, read enough books to really, you know, overlap some of these, perhaps childish thoughts that I have, and these opinions that I have. I mean, I could try to be a cool leg Geechee nigga all day, but that ain't really important to me. What's important to me is that these people really were forming bonds, having babies at early ages, whether they was hitting lists. I don't know what they was doing, but I have to worry about these people. And they can ruin my reputation. That's exactly what they were doing. She is not submitting. Don't give her a job. Make life hard for this bitch. Let's give her a gun and see what she's going to do. Will she defend us, or will she oppose us? I mean, if I am aware of not just the concept, but the reality of being sexually abused. I can either choose to still love a man or woman or not. I am not capable of loving another human being because of all this negativity in my life, like ancestral relationships and things of that nature. I have to seek vengefulness naturally. That's how I feel. I feel vengeful. Like, man, I need to knock him off. And then all these niggas. That's how it really happened though. This shit, this street shit real. Like, man, Sade, they go Sade the dyke. Shit, I got a family. I ain't got time to worry about that. Let me just throw her some money just because I want to show off the fact that I take care of my family and I am a man first and I got it like that, regardless if I got a job or not. The whole muscle mentality is what's hurting my pride. I'm not with that shit. This is why I'm at odds with myself between being a woman and thinking like a man. Movies, that's actually a movie and a damn book. So what they tell you, man, they been crossing. Like, the more I read about this gender history and all that, the more I'm gonna be like, shit, if only that shit didn't happen to me in my life, I wouldn't even be judged so goddamn much. I wouldn't even be inferior so goddamn much. I really was trying to be sympathetic. I do. That's what dykes do, right? I'm like, listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. I see you having an advantage over me, homegirl fucking with you, you know. But that's how you know that most people, it just depends on what you being taught. Like, most people, parents just all real want to teach them to have confidence and earn their keys. That's what my people want to teach me. Like, you can't just go out here and have everything. It don't work like that. And be a spoiled brat. You have to actually need to earn that, and that's where you will reap the benefits. You sow what you reap. And it comes to a point where you have to realize that, motherfuckers just be making this shit look easy. You might see these little rappers on a lot of time out, they do this and there are really people that live like that. Like, really, it's really a man mindset. This is why a lot of women are at odds with themselves. Come, like, if I was a nigga just sitting in some apartments growing up and I decided to start my own set, some of these niggas really do be going through shit. Don't get me wrong. Some niggas really be losing their parents and shit. And the lifestyle is suitable for them. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's suitable for a nigga to be thugged out if he really been through some shit. And this is where I'm trying to be receptive of the idea of my reality as a woman. Because I'm really like, shit, I don't know how to feel. I'm like, I don't know how to feel. I don't know. One day I grow up and, depending on how long I live, I may just stop being so damn childish when it comes to manhood. Because I really am. When it comes to manhood, that shit is a concept to me. It's not a reality. I could care less about these niggas in real life. In real life, I won't see a difference between me and them. In real life, you have to respect what you respect. Like, I seen a video of Snoop Dogg at a funeral, and it don't matter if he get his ass whooped or not, or if he get respect. He is Snoop Dogg from Long Beach. That's what I understand, that he is a nigga from Long Beach, and we gotta respect the dead. I've been here long enough. I got OG status to himself. If nobody else view him in that aspect, it really don't matter to him. But like I said, I keep up with these people because at the end of the day, don't get that shit fooled. People really do shit from their heart. People really be going through shit. Nigga could really goddamn crash, man. Like the movie. Nigga could really crash being so goddamn fucked up in the mind about things that they really go through. I don't think sexual abuse is that bad. I mean, I'm alive. I still take care of myself. I just don't like the after effect of a man having sex with me. That's where your pride comes in, where I began to show a disdainful nature to these niggas. That's why these niggas was sitting there telling me I was this dang. Because alright, now that you feel inferior to me, what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? I got a family. Da 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 da. I'm having kids and shit. Are you gonna let that shit get the best of you, or you gonna do some push-ups and keep it moving? That's how niggas was thinking. Like, you really just gonna let that shit get to you? That ain't even a worst case scenario. I'm saying, I'm being childish. I'm seeing all this beautiful music being made. See, I was just telling people like they want to be a ball or something by Lil Troy. It got 100 million views damn near now. That was just a nigga from the ghetto. Maybe back then he didn't deserve it. Regardless if people thought he deserved it, no matter what he done did in the streets, he got his 100 million views. That song got people through that day because people really did want to live like that. I was telling people I really am intrigued by the nature of the Creole male, and I'm like, I can sit here and watch the documentary of Pimp Snooki just going out, showing his, you know, so-called pimp mentality and shit, hanging out with bitches and shit. I'm really intrigued by the movie American Gangster because this is a reality of life. You know what I'm saying? When I think of growing up in Atlanta and, my grandma lived in the house on Hogan Road, I'm not sure she owned it or not. It doesn't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? However she got it. She went to work every day, and I'm like, the apartment she lived in and things of that nature. Some people, some projects have houses surrounding, when you think of projects, most people think of units, apartment units. And, when it comes to living in apartments, it's usually, there are always better places and bigger houses and places that you can live that will be classified as a more suburban feel. But, growing up and walking around outside, being around places like boarding homes and family going apartments and people repping their neighborhoods, it really do feel like the ghetto, the dungeon. You know what I'm saying? You go to some of these apartment houses and you really will feel like the whole, the concept. I mean, being from the ghetto is not a concept to people. Some people really feel like they living in the ghetto when they living in a certain house or certain building, and it's made a certain way, and people are outside, dancing and having ancestral relations. All that dysfunctional shit really makes up the whole idea of being from the ghetto. It's not a concept for people. It's like, damn, we really would ratchet out here now. Let's straighten up. Let's not be so ghetto now. That's why you can go to Atlanta and you can go to the liquor store on the West End and be like, oh, that liquor store still there. They still put screen doors on the window. Like, they still keeping it true to the ghetto. Then you go to Cobb County and you got a more suburban feel. They ain't calling it a liquor store. They calling it a wine house or the core store or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like a brewery. Like, there's antique places out here. I was out there in Aiken and they got like a restaurant and brewery. There's some history when it comes to, beer and stuff. And I'm reading about like ice cream and stuff, vanilla spice. Like, the shit is really an expensive resource, or I'm not sure if you call it a resource or a crop, however you look at it. But I'm like, that's probably why we're not selling it, because it's the winter time and nobody wants to be cold. Let's stop selling ice cream for all the anemic people like Sade. Yay! You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was looking at stuff like I was seeing. I'm not sure if it was a post or an actual video of the New York libraries. Like, you ever see like when you think of Egypt, you see gold crowns and stuff like that. All that stuff. That's what it looked like. It looked like it had a lot of antique gold. I guess you want to say heirlooms or gold natured objects flown around in the New York Library. It's places where you can go where it just really feel like history. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, shit, this ain't just a goddamn herringbone. This is fucking You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, at some point, I never was materialistic. I always try to keep educational value what I did. Because I'm like, these Creole people, they just swagging, but I'm like, I really want to know the history about how I come, because a lot of times, like I said, swag, confidence come from within. I'm like, some people just really had a certain appeal, but I really not talk myself out of looking at these people in the aspect. Like I said, I really want to value, if I'm an imaginary man in reverse psychology, I really want to value my own goddamn manhood. You know what I'm saying? There's confidence that can overlap these titties that I got, this female look that I got, and a nigga would just be like, yeah, that's a nigga, that motherfucker really dressed. I don't really see too many women really having male confidence though. You know what I'm saying? It's a completely different feel when you see a man in clothes as opposed to a woman. And I'll be like, man, I'm really mad about that. And I think it's kind of cute though, that I really want to have the appeal of a man. This shit real. This shit is so real. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. I can either define some more of these words out of these. I think since I already checked the book, I ain't gotta walk to the library because I'm like, I got a bruise on my damn toe. I walk a lot. It ain't even about that though. Like when you work out, you don't care what kind of bruises and shit you get. You're trying to basically build muscle memory and get your muscles to get stronger. And I'm like, now I'm gonna be forced to work out. My womanhood is what's sabotaging that fact. I'm like, man, look at these titties. I'm like, I'm gonna cut these bitches off. All because I want to be a man in some clothes. That shit is so pathetic and so childish. That's why I was like, growing up, I'm like, shit. I'm gonna have some problems with some of these niggas. Some of these people really do have established lives, You can tell that the more knowledgeable somebody is, that they probably have more focus. You know what I'm saying? Those women, those kids that I grew up around, most of us did experience orgasm. Some of them didn't at early ages, and we were really being viewed as narcissists. I'm like, we really were being viewed as sexual, and somebody was like, I had to use damn near reverse psychology on the whole school. I'm pretty sure there are very smart people that go around and study people like this is a proven fact. I'm sorry, you're gonna be judged for this, and we have to keep an eye on you, and we want to conversational detox you. That's why you have counseling in school. People will judge you. I regret, a man having sex with me. I really would have had more of a happier life if that didn't happen, because that really became my social life, boyfriend and girlfriends at an early age. And I began to get angry about not being in control of that situation and people really, you know, trying to enjoy their relationships at young ages. People really saying, I'm really living this life. I really want to grow up fast. I really am a scoring woman. I really have daddy issues. You really have to be you really have to be receptive of dysfunctionality. I don't think I will ever have confidence because of that fact. Thus far, until I read a lot more, I was sitting there comparing myself to other people. You know what I'm saying? In real life, like I said, creativity can exaggerate things a bit. You know what I'm saying? To make them better, suitable for you being receptive of it. You know what I'm saying? Like Psycho Bob. I'm like, he really was a man from so and so and so and so. Like, whatever the fuck he represent. And I'm like, he ain't nobody special to my ass. You see what I'm saying? I'm sitting here, them men sitting there making a war between men and women. And I'm like, I'm really having to conform to the idea of being a girl and realizing that, damn, my mom and my grandma, they went ahead and chose to be heterosexual women. And I really hope that they're reaping the benefits from that, you know, financial status on a mental level too, regardless of the, somewhat dysfunctionality that's associated with their lifestyle, but they have a reputation of being women. So I'm like, I could profit off of that too, because my grandma was known for being a cook, and then there would be people that just were really going through shit that really weren't respecting, you know, her code of ethics. We had people coming to the house and, throwing plates on the floor because they were really going through shit. Like my mom's ex-husband. That was the first time she married. I'm like, he need to take into consideration. I'm like, my mama fucking married you. She didn't know what the fuck that shit was. I mean, we grew up with the Christian ideology, but in actuality, my mama been a nigga to me my whole life. These people had their own shit going on. They chose to fuck with these niggas. That's just how I look at it. I could be naive. I ain't, I'm a child. I ain't all in a relationship like that. But in reality, my mom could have stayed by herself. She gave love to two different men and she had to deal with their childish ways or whatever the case was. I was sitting there being told I was a submissive because of sex. And I'm like really feeling stressed out about that fact because of morality and stuff like that. It's certain things you teach your children, it can trigger a stressor effect. I'm like, well, if I never would have understood, somebody would have told me it was wrong and morally and this, that, and the third. People were sitting there. Like one lady was like, after you and my son had sex, I was sitting there teaching you that you was being lustful and you were da 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 da. Like motherfuckers will plot on your downfall. You know what I'm saying? This is where my inferiority complex to man come from. Cause then in turn I'm starting to feel agitated. Then the men is sitting there stigmatizing me for being a woman, having an attitude because of sexuality. All that shit really just wear a nigga down. I mean, we make a lot of jokes, about the things of that nature, but it's real. Motherfucker could lose their life sitting there, bullying and shit like that. That shit is real for some people. Some people will tell me you take shit too personally. Take shit personally because you sitting here being viewed as a weak victim. Have to use a lot of reverse psychology on your life once you start to experience stress. And it is what it is. You're gonna be in a relationship and somebody gonna respect you or not. That's why my mom got 2 babies by a nigga and he can't respect her because she ain't got no struggle to him. But he ain't no threat to her. And if he is a threat to her, we gonna see her if her life end because of him. You need to understand that I can't relate to none of them folks. I don't have kids and shit like that. I have to deal with these people on an emotional level. I have to figure out how to be receptive of the things that they're doing. Because it's like a business. Like I'm working at McDonald's. I'm like, it's a very small area inside of a big retail store. It's all retail in a general sense. You're trying to make a profit. But then once you start sinning, it's not about the profit no more. It's about building courage, confidence, and am I doing this from my heart? Let's say you're a nigga born in the ghetto and you really want your children to value you from an educational standpoint. If you are a killer, if you say, well, nah, I just did that shit for my family. I was young, dumb, full of cum. That ain't gonna be no excuse. What your children will learn is that you're gonna be valued more for being a good person than a bad person. But then again, things get contradictory. Bad things happen to good people. What if you're really born in a neighborhood where you heard somebody killed the whole family? You will internalize that as a child that there is a third breed mentality out here. Well, there must be somebody that done lost everything and then lost their damn mind. They are still not a threat to society. Just because you go through shit don't mean people won't sympathize with you. That's why we got an outlet. I mean, I know that I'm not a saint. I can tell because I feel guilty about something. But I don't feel guilty for no reason. You know what I'm saying? It's just natural. I'm not even sure if I feel guilty. I just don't like people making threats to me. When you go on the news, you don't never know what's going on until you really just see that shit. Touch that shit. Feel that shit. Tell niggas just be really trying to be smart. Motherfuckers really want to be receptive of lesbianism. Like, man, you could have just let me put a baby in you. You done already experienced the orgasm. Go ahead and give a man a baby, man. Let's see if we can goddamn make a rap song about your ass. Nah, that ain't gonna happen, motherfucker. Yeah, I gotta be aware of these straight people. You ever, Bonnie and Clyde, I gotta watch the movie. I'm sure it's an old school movie I can watch. That's how niggas be like. Niggas be Mr. and Mrs. Smith. People really did make fun of me for the, idea, the paradigm, the actual lifestyle, the actuality of heterosexualism. People really make fun of me for, my history and dealing with that, no matter how dysfunctional it was. And I'm like, that's really what's tearing my heart into pieces. I really wish that I was watched more, but I can appreciate that little struggle, because at the end of the day, naturalism is real, and I have to sit here and realize that people will judge me for not conforming to it because of the idea of me having an orgasm, and the fact that you gotta realize, because of inbreeding, me being touched on by my cousin and shit, it's fucked up. It really made a maniac out of me. I'm like, they really plotting on my downfall, and I'm like, that's how I feel. So I would teach my little sisters, your dad ain't got no business touching on you. It's wrong. You, even if you didn't think it was wrong at the moment, you gonna learn that it was wrong. I'm like, I be telling people, all the men in my family are pretty much rapists. It don't matter if we knew better or not. We know now. We still know. You know what I'm saying? My cousin, you go around them, motherfuckers still like, I don't give a fuck if you my cousin or not. Some people really ain't that smart. Some people is that smart, and it's just, they is. I come from a very fucked up family, and that's just how it is. Niggas really wanted me to conform to the idea of being a woman. Not gonna happen. You see what it did to me? It make a maniac out of me. I could barely sympathize with my little sisters because of that fact. Because of my because of my womanhood and all the men having babies at early ages. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to deal with these folks for the rest of my life. And them folk were like, me and my nigga, we turned on you for this, that. Nah, bitch. Your nigga used to fuck me. That's my cousin. That's nasty as fuck. That's nasty as hell. I don't give a fuck about none of these niggas. Cause that's what they were doing. They were using my womanhood to their advantage. Well, then you're a scorned woman. Now, y'all done run so much game on these hoes. But if these men want to come to their little bitches defense, that's cool. But when the lights go down and you're looking around, who's gonna love you? Whoa, whoa. I kill your whole family. They ain't gonna let that shit happen, though. Y'all got more sense than that. I done did a lot of analyzing and shit. These niggas know I don't like them or they bitch. So, I see what time it is. Like, niggas be trying to get, niggas be instigative. I don't blame them for doing that. You can take advantage of, the situation. Niggas be trying to be instigative. Nah, my nigga muscle out here, shit. I need you to represent. I need you to understand that you gonna respect this or not. I'm gonna die about this shit, though. That's how real it is. It's a nigga that's dead right now, I'd expect to die. I was being naive. I'm thinking because a nigga cute and shit, attracting women, that he gonna be alive. But being a man can be very hard. They have my deepest sympathy on that. Because it's like, let's say you is working in fast food or you doing something legit, and you may be doing a little. Most people try to start out being legit. You want to do the right thing, but at the same time, if your parents are doing the wrong thing and you find out, or they just teaching you to do the wrong thing, then you can't know no better. It's something that you learn, so learn behavior. But at the same time, from my understanding, like, I'm like, these niggas really, like, nah, y'all have my deepest sympathy. Because no matter if you're a woman or a man, you got to deal with people, right? It's just like being an intellect. From an intellectual standpoint, when it comes to this fast food shit, everybody that work up and down these streets can be like, let's do a seminar. Let's all hook up and go to a hotel room. Are you making enough money to where you can do that? Can you contribute to a hotel room? Or let's have a little a breakfast, a luncheon, or something about the ins and outs of fast food, are you really that courageous of a person? Are you really built like that? It ain't gonna work for me. I've got a lot to learn. I ain't even but 30 years old. I'm still young. I got a lot to learn. There's a lot of negative thoughts in my head. Like I said, we grew up being told we were submissive, and they was sitting there trying to use reverse psychology. And everybody can't say they had sex with their family members. It's embarrassing. It's humiliating. It's a humiliating thought. It ain't nothing. It's something that will torture you. Some of them niggas like, well, nah, you want my real cousin. We ain't blood related. It don't matter. I'm gonna be affected by sexuality for the rest of my life. People are gonna view me as a submissive woman because of all the men making fun of me for making fun of the fact that they had sex with me and they were thorough. And I'm like, after the boy will have sex with me, now he's proven to, if he has a future, he's proven that, well, shit, even if you tell the story and you are being viewed as the victim, I'm still thorough. At the end of the day, that's what they was trying to say. Like, shit, I'm still goddamn a solid nigga. I'm still gonna be viewed having the upper hand over you. People gonna be like, shit, my nigga was thorough. You shouldn't let that shit happen. That's how niggas gotta play it out. You know how you see men interact with each other like, shit, manhood in this bitch. You shouldn't have never let that happen. You might well go ahead and be a woman. That's what my daddy told me. Go ahead and get you a boyfriend. You've been viewed as the weaker vessel. A nigga told me, shit, if I was a woman, I would have submit. It's easy for him to say that. You're not being viewed as a submissive. But it really is easy for some people to say. That is the battle from within that I'm dealing with all these men and shit and women sitting there making fun of me. I'm like, they don't really make me reject myself because of, I don't have a simple mind, but I'm also not as smart as I need to be. Intellects challenge themselves. As I got older, I started analyzing the conversation with men and be like, I used to call random neighborhoods, like maybe one or two neighborhoods, Florida or whatever. I'm like, shit, every nigga from the hood is pretty much doing the same thing. They're eating with their families. They may be hitting licks, whatever doing. You might have big brothers or big sisters or cousins you grew up with. They're going to come to your defense. I am not a dysfunctional minded person. I do not view my family members as close knit. We had sex with each other. I do not feel protected by these people. There's a disconnect. I don't have a dysfunctional mindset, and I never did, to my understanding. So no, I definitely feel alone and feel a disconnect because of that fact. My mom, I'm pretty sure she feel the same way. I could tell that she's stressed a little bit because of, you ended up with two different men and, they pretty much ended up with another theme of life. I mean, it just makes sense. You got to try to purify yourself, right? That's what the Christian religion has taught us, creating me a clean heart. It's a mental thing. Once you start sabotaging yourself or things start, you know, dwindling down, you get sabotaged by life, or when you're born, you're pure and you have sex, and you know what I'm saying? You got to think about stuff like that. You got to do certain things to show discipline. Some people may value you for smelling better. As I said, that's what herb is for. Meat. I was reading things. When you read things, you have to justify shit with intellectualism. And what I'm reading a book, I was reading a book about, bowel movements and odors to food and shit. It's a lot of things that make things smell worse than they actually are, or whatever. Certain things, you know what I'm saying? The smell of pig, raw meat, mixed with a grill smell, heat, it all comes together and forms a bond and has an effect. You go to a jailhouse, they're gonna be happy as hell to smell that burnt meat booty. Because they gonna like, shit, I missed the outside. I don't give a fuck. You gonna appreciate that goddamn hamburger when you goddamn get out of a setting like prison or jail. You ain't gonna give a fuck about being on no diet and shit. I mean, if you are, you're a well disciplined person, but you know that's how the game worked. Like niggas was already working at fast food restaurants and shit when I was a kid. You got to make a choice when your pride is hurt, when people do things to you. When them people was already making kids on me and shit when I was a kid, and realizing that, you know, a song like "Play the Victim." I'm not sure if I wrote that or contributed to it, or the nigga that the chaotic guy 305 wrote that himself. Because I'm like, I understand when somebody say "play the victim," that means that at some point you ain't that goddamn fucked up in the mind to where you can't have you still can't function in life. I mean, just because I goddamn, you know, took my cousin dick don't mean I can't go to work every day and brush that shit out. But that still is an emotional thing that you will carry with you. It's a mind game. That's why the pimp game exists. You know what I'm saying? It's a mind game. You can let somebody tear your ass down or not. You can let your anger get the best of you or not. I'm very good at dealing with the things I've dealt with. But like I said, intellectualism, you can't win with it. The facts. I'm like, well, a lot of these men was really passionate about their manhood, and I can't blame them. But hell nah, man, I don't want no nigga going around goddamn wanting to have an advantage over any woman. So bitches is butches and shit. You know, I can't go around just disrespecting heterosexual union relationships because they got this shit out here. I'm like, niggas, bitches would be like that. I'm gonna send a nigga at you. Nigga ain't gonna hurt my feelings because in reality, when you a man, you don't not, especially coming from the demographic that I want to. I know niggas be like, I kill bitches and shit like that. Don't nobody give a fuck about all that. But what I'm saying is, you know, it's about loyalty to your family. They not doing it because they trying to be macho and shit and show that they can kill and shit. They doing it because they care about their family, no matter if you're a bitch or a nigga. But I'm saying in reality that I'm saying the double standard that come with men and womanhood, motherfucker think I'm plotting on them. Like shit. At the end of the day, it's about loyalty, not about gender. That's the shit that I can respect. But what I can say is, depending on who you are, how single you are or not, men ain't gonna want to goddamn. Some men really think a certain type of way about women, and they ain't gonna want to pull that plug on you. I don't go around using my womanhood to my advantage. I expect to die every day because of the stigma of my womanhood. Because I'm not saying that, you know how bitch be like, I ain't gonna take no shit. I ain't finna say that I'm perfect in dealing with this whole dynamic of heterosexuality. You know, I look like a straight up girl to some people and really wanna, be viewed in a certain aspect. I had to use a lot of reverse psychology on myself. That's the best I can do. So, with all that being said, uh I work at McDonald's and I appreciate the fuck out of it. I love me a Big Mac with some pickles. And it's all about putting the work ethic in. Enjoying the food is cool and dandy, but you got to be careful who the company you keep, who you work around. That's how they do. There are people going around studying people. Once you learn more, psychology and things of that nature, I begin to feel ashamed of myself. Once I experienced an orgasm and once I had to really talk about having an ancestral relationship with, my cousin that was forced on me. They was pulling out guns on me. They really was sitting there trying to justify their rapes with, things like shit. You know what I'm saying? They really wanted me to feel scorned so they can, I don't know, they wanted that feeling for a reverse psychological detox or what, but these niggas and these bitches are one and the same to me. Like, I'm like, I don't know what my cousins should be doing. And I'm like, they ain't getting pussy that belong to them. And that's why I kept trying to tell them, like, when you live this nigga life, ain't no telling what they got going on. I'm like, shit, all I do, shit, I fuck these bitches and I expect loyalty, you know, and motherfuckers be like, well, we actually were married and shit. You ain't got nothing to do with people and their lifestyle. And that's why I'm mad, because when you form a bond with somebody, I feel sorry for like the whole dynamic of heterosexuality, or the whole paradigm of it, or the whole reality of it. When you don't have to tell people what kind of relationship you have. You don't have to tell them how deep it is and then like that. So motherfuckers be want to show me they gun and shit. And that's why I have to deal with. I have to deal with the fact that people started making threats toward me. And I'm like, nah, I'm taking this shit personally. Cause I'm like, motherfuckers will, like, it's motherfuckers that really want their respect. You ever seen Sweetie Pie and shit? Motherfuckers really like, shit, look at me and my bitch. We take pride in our relationship. We take pride in the shit we do out here. We Bonnie and Clyde. You ain't gonna come between us. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I really don't like the fact that, you know, the men in my family, the way they acted toward me, so that it was a nigga that was calling me a narcissist, saying that that's why you taking this shit. I don't like the way I be getting angry at niggas for, you know, I'm trying to look at it in a mature fashion, like, nah, is that nigga disrespecting me or not? And that's why they say, well, you lack confidence because you sitting here really get mad and I won't take you seriously because of my muscle mentality to myself. That's what I say it's about, though. Fighting a dog. There's a lot of niggas that be like, man, I know I could take you down as a female, or I know I don't second guess myself as a man. You might well go ahead and da 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 da. So that's what I have to worry about, because it is a lot of niggas out here that's getting recognition. You know, that's what they was doing. Like, shit, I'm a kid. I got a baby on the way. I ain't got time for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Rob her mama for me. She a narcissist. Da 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 da. I'm like, I just feel all kind of disrespect. It's all good though, cause I'm like, if I was a woman that was with a man and had a boyfriend when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure that I cannot walk in these people's shoes. I just, the tone of voice they be having, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this shit seriously, but at the same time, I'm gonna take this shit disrespectfully. I have to really, I really have to explore my womanhood. I'm really gonna talk myself into understanding my womanhood for these niggas, so I don't feel so disrespected. Because the same way they can kill me, the feeling is so mutual. You know, when you in a relationship with somebody, you respect somebody, you can tell when somebody respects somebody because they actually believe the things that they say. That's what I'm on the outside looking in. If I see a woman support her boyfriend, then I'm like, I gotta be careful. Cause she really believe in that nigga. And he'll try to live that shit out regardless of how mature he trying to be or not. So I gotta be careful. Because my womanhood is something that I gotta talk myself into liking for these straight bitches. Cause I'm like, in reality, I was looking at these niggas like, I really was embracing these niggas. These bitches came in between my interaction with these niggas. Molestation came in between my interaction with others. I can't let that get the best of my mind. Because in reality, if it want, some of these niggas wouldn't even be who they are if it weren't for these bitches. There are people that really have to, that are and have tried to understand me from an intellectual standpoint. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to play mind games. Now, you gotta think every possible way. You gotta have an abstract way of thinking. If you are a kid and you living in a community and you have a child at a certain age limit and there is actually a law, you know, that says that this will be the certain age limit where you will be viewed as an adult or a kid, you got to understand that stigma against you. I'm pretty sure they think like that. Like, nah, she think because I'm young and I'm having a kid, there's something wrong with me, that I ain't ready for this. So I'm about to prove this bitch wrong. Nah, they gonna try to use that against me. That's what they was doing. Like, niggas was sitting there pretty much, if somebody has an advantage over you, whether they got money or whatever they doing, that's what you got to worry about when you start going to school. That's why homeschooling is good. If you have the means to do it, do it. It's hard once you're born into this world and you realize that you become social and then it's all dysfunctional. It's going to be hard to figure out how to move, because some people are growing up living in trailers. Some people may be growing up living in tents. You have to realize, like, if I had a kid right now, I definitely wouldn't try to make them a narcissist. I definitely wouldn't. You have to really be smart. That's why some people probably that have kids at older ages, if it's possible, like 45, they're like, I'm pretty sure they're old grandmas raising kids. You hear stories about it. Sometimes wisdom just means, you know, skill, right? It's like, I'm not a skillful worker to myself because I haven't done things in a certain pattern or way. You get around different people at these different fast food restaurants and you see how they do stuff and you kind of pick up on their coordination skills and stuff, and eventually you realize you interact with customers and see what they really want and what they really need. Some people have personal connections with people and stuff like that, so that's what they're looking for with me. People started rejecting me for, the passionate man, right? The superior man. I'm sitting here, somebody was sitting there telling me you don't have in a male emotional state. That's what you're analyzing. You're analyzing their behavior, their affection. It's up to you to realize, are you smart enough to make it genuine? Are you smart enough to detect if it's genuine or not? This is what being an intellect comes into play with. Getting away with things, not just getting away with things, but understanding things and actually associating with people in a positive manner. There's no way that I can socialize a lot, but it comes with life. You have to, if you really want to be, this social network is the perfect platform for a person like me. It can be dangerous. You gotta know how to defend yourself. You got to teach kids how to use gun at early age. It just is what it is. You just like me being a single woman, me having behavior patterns to qualify me for being in the paradigm or the reality of heterosexuality is very toxic for me. And niggas say, well, man, regardless of how you feel or whatever, you still I took some dick, so you still, pretty much don't stop making like a big deal out of the shit. You know what I'm saying? You really need to just suck that shit up and move forward with your life. But motherfuckers will know when you really are a victim. Motherfuckers will understand. Like, motherfucker was trying to converse with me like, okay, yeah, justified with naturalism. You really wished it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? You ain't really just over the top, just fucked up in the mind. You know what I'm saying? You gotta respect what's respect. You know what I'm saying? It's just the shit that people go through in their household. Dealing with people and their struggles. We all have a sense of selfishness. I was an only child for 9 years. And everybody in my life pretty much was married and shit, trying to live a perfect life. But it ain't like that. That's why niggas are poets and shit. Poetry and shit makes sense out of dysfunction. You just try to make sense of it. Certain things you don't understand, so you just have to use your wordplay and study words and realize that, this is why people that understand literature can get over with shit. A lot of times, a person might not seem or even be that smart because they lack an intellectual identity to some other. People will play with your mind. I could sit here and know how to make a drink, but you will be valued more when you study words. There could be somebody that can hire you and be like, I don't give a fuck if she know how to make a drink or not. The bitch is smart. She has people skills. She knows how to interact with people. She knows how to make up random conversations about random everyday events, about random knowledgeable things. She knows how to make people smarter. Damn the fact that she know how to drop fries. Can she speak with intellectualism and actually intrigue people and talk people out of having a bad day? That's my thing. I've been internalizing a lot of shit because of heterosexuality. And realizing that them people really were trying to earn my trust, even though I had went through that. And like I said, the rebellious nature of what I've analyzed is the behavior of men interacting with women that they find, sexually attractive. When you listen to 2 Chainz songs, I contribute to some of those. That's a lot of the lyricism. I'm really on the outside looking in, like, damn, nigga, like, I got a bad bitch, they got a bad bitch, they got a bad bitch, they got a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? Really just overthinking. Being childish, like, shit. That's how niggas really gonna think when you listen to rap music and shit like that. You can't get rid of those thoughts. Those men, the men in my life, to me, were plotting on my downfall. They were really wanted to make a man hater out of the idea that they were obsessing over the fact that they were men. Trying to, prove that they were smart, prove that they had a manhood. They didn't need my approval to themselves. That's my understanding. Now, how these people are today, I have nothing to do with that. My womanhood is very toxic for me. But shit real. People really go through shit. Shout out to Tracy T. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of them people who still having fun a lot of paradigms. I like, I don't know, one of them niggas from Mexico or some shit. Ain't no telling. I mean, you can tell from his music. It's a detox for me. I'm a regular black woman from Georgia. Ain't too much intriguing about my life and me. So I have to do things like, you know, definitely create an intellectual identity for myself to associate with some of these people that are detoxing for me. This is a lifestyle that I actually embrace. It's at the same time I reject because I'm contributing to it. When a nigga say get money, fuck hoes, I mean bitches said it too. Lil' Kim was our goddamn savior as women. You know what I'm saying? She sitting there screaming the same thing, but at the end of the day, you see how we defining the word hoe and shit. We ain't just looking at it like it's a girl or a garden too. We looking at it like shit. A hoe is just a goddamn pussy ass nigga. But that's what niggas want you to view yourself as once they bitch you. But I'm pretty sure these women that have relationships with men that actually won't take it personally means that they have a confident identity as an intellectual person, knowing that this is. I think there's a difference between some of them women that really was telling me, like, or men, you take shit too personally, which means you don't have parents or people that's over you that's keeping you encouraged and uplifted, because that's a parent's job. It's, you never know what you're going to be born into. Especially like understanding concepts. Like when I was born, there could have been people, the concept of inbreeding. There are people that can spread rumors on live and stuff like that. That's what somebody was telling me. I was telling people up north that this, then the third. So I'm living in the South. So some of my cousins, my older cousins, would be like, I can go move somewhere else and spread rumors about you for, a detox for my sake, because you down south trying to make me look bad. That's how niggas be. I mean, you can do that. Once you explore the internet and shit, you can do that. You can really ruin somebody's reputation for a reverse psychological detox, or because you really have ill will motives, or because you was really taught to be like that. You was really taught to be a hateful person, and you really want to plot on somebody's downfall. Well, she's a girl. I want her to submit. I like men. I want her to be like men too. I'm going to plot on her downfall because of that. I mean, she looks feminine. She did. People are intimidated by masculine women. I could tell because I could tell that the conversations between me and my peers growing up was that, well, then what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? We would have debates. People are going to judge you for being masculine. People are going to judge you for coming out a certain way. I can tell what you're thinking about. I can read you. I can tell that this person is a paradigm for you. I can tell that you're mocking this person. I can tell blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's pretty much what I was doing growing up. Once I started feeling inferior to a man, the boy had sex with me, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting my ass whooped over people and shit. And I'm like, okay, so this is, it's a movie called The Lies We Tell, but the Secrets We Keep. A lot of time, say you have uncontrolled variables in your life to where people really can set up situations in your life. You know, your stepdaddy, your uncle stepdaddy can molest you. Your mom walk in the room and think you being grown because she already knew you had sex before. Men tend to do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just saying that, because of the identity of drugs and stuff, impaired judgment, that motherfuckers could be off about the shit that they saying. But what I'm saying is there is a such idea of being manipulative. That's what you learn as a parent. You will learn that depending on who you are, it is a lot of people that's going through stuff based off lies. That's why I like that movie, because it's a great representation of what can happen. You know, when somebody is born here on this earth, and if they study sex before they actually have it, they'll realize that, okay, well, I will experience an orgasm. There can be a pleasurable feeling that I feel. I can tell by the way they're looking that it may be pleasurable if I let a man stick his penis in me or not. But also there's this concept, this idea of being molested, being violated too. That's a negative thing. So that's what a lot of us women are dealing with when they say you are scorned and stuff. What I have to do is I have to use an intellectual identity to figure out if these men are trying to use my womanhood against me, or are they really just saying, well, I understand where you're coming from, but I was taught to handle my problems in this way. You can work out, you do this, you got to build confidence. Because obviously that identity, your identity as a woman, is they can use that against you. Because of that fact, a motherfucker could be getting molested by their stepfather and their mama never know, or their mom do know, and she just be like, you got to get over that. A lot of people within, the realms of dysfunction, that's what they're dealing with. They're having to cope by themselves, and you won't get sympathy. You just have to deal with it. There's an after effect to dealing with the fact that it may be somebody that molested you growing up, may be in a successful relationship, but the success rate for dysfunctional people is not that high, I don't think. Just based off what I see, ain't no way in hell that a boy and a girl growing up, you know what I'm saying, it's no different from each other. Being in the ghetto or whatever the case is, being in a dysfunctional family, you got to figure shit out. Once you figure out about sex, inbreeding, and all that shit, you grow up and realize that I'm like, these niggas really want to live out this mentality. Okay, let's explore it. Let's make rap songs about it and everything. Let's actually have people study this way of thinking. Now, you want to be a secure identity. And if you don't, then you're going to be stuck in la la land for the rest of your life. They want me to justify the fact that little boys want to really have a heterosexual identity, and I'm sitting here really overthinking this whole manhood thing. Like, nah, nigga really want to be straight as an arrow. Nigga really be passionate about that shit. Hyper masculinity, all that shit happen natural. Now you got all these women that sitting here being hyper masculine and won't be able. You got to teach yourself submission as a woman if you be with a man. If you did grow up get molested, motherfucker gonna judge you. We don't give a fuck about your personal problems. We doing good right now. I'm making too much money to even think about that. That's what the type of person I gotta be. I got to be focused on my job and be like, well, I gotta worry about these straight people I grew up around that really wanted me to respect them. But they were sitting there saying they were hitting licks. I was taking shit personally, because at the end of the day, personally, I really did have to at some point socialize with these people, because you grow up in a small community and we understood working at fast food restaurants. We were not dumb kids. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to deal with some of these people growing up. They're hitting licks and stuff, and I was taking that shit personally because in reality, it was one guy that really wanted to point out the fact that I was a narcissist. So was I not wrong about? I knew that all these little rap songs and shit, I'm like, they really want to have a natural driven love for women. That they got my whole some of these people. When you go to school and you associate with people, it do seem like some of these people have more confidence than others, and that's what you're fighting for. You fighting for the attention of the teacher's approval, or you really know some people really don't need nobody else's approval, and they just get the natural attention that they need to be successful. You know what I'm saying? The reason why a lot of women, it just depends on who you are. When you grow up and you sell anything, I'm working at Checkers and I'm like, I ain't never sell $2 million worth of nothing. When you working for somebody, that's what they gonna look at. What was her success working for this company? How many burgers did she sell? Is she really a people person? Because in this realm, we don't give a fuck if she sell or not. That's why what I had to realize with myself. I'm like, man, these people really got them on this straight shit. And I really am just a scorned woman to these people. Okay, okay. I'm scorned to you. Y'all, I'm internalizing that like you looking at me like I'm a weak person. I'm like, I'm internalizing the same ideology that these men is internalizing, and you know what I'm saying? Pretty much being a tomboy about it. Like, I don't know how to feel about this shit. They made a mockery out of, dysfunctionality, and that's the reason why I've got to be careful around all these people I grew up around, because some of them people really was seemingly having submission, but I can't let my mind fool me, because in reality, like I said, all them people, everybody ain't like that. I'm pretty sure everybody ain't got babies and shit, but I have to worry about heterosexual people. I was the outcast, so what do you do with it? No one sit in the house all day and do nothing. That's what I was worried about growing up. I was worried about how they gonna take that. If a motherfucker's a kid already doing this and that third, I don't know. When you grow up in the ghetto, you don't know who's being manipulative or not. You know what I'm saying? I guess, does that mean I haven't had too many bad experiences to where I'm not really intuitive to know? You just never know. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure you keep a job because of this, that, and the third. I'm like, my pride breaker is that I can't win for losing with the manhood thing. I'm like, nah, this nigga proving his manhood to a female. And I'm like, now I'm kind of really wanting to be a man when it comes to this, that, and the third. Like a lady told me to write an essay about clothes and fashion and stuff, because some of those people, I guess she was identifying the fact that that I was realizing that some of these people were of a certain identity, and it showed once I started analyzing that conversation. It shows that I was really viewing them in a certain aspect, which is pretty cool. That's the thing about learning. You just never know where it's going to take you. So, yeah. Yeah. I'm like, you ever really just think about why your reputation as a whole, you feel like somebody treating you like this, but sometimes it could be the words you learn. Having a guilty conscience. And, that song by Eminem, growing up, and, people will be like, you just never know. I wasn't doing that shit on purpose. But I know for now, if anybody being born in this world, if you are a female and you're growing up in a neighborhood where a mom might have a son and so, just keep an eye on your kids. Don't let them make mistakes. I mean, people say all day, every day, when I have kids, I ain't gonna let shit happen to them. And that's the best they can say. That's the best they can fucking say. I mean, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed and defeated a little bit, because I'm like, some of these people really was like, shit, some of these people really was already working hard because of the fact of being an adult, right? Having kids and shit. I don't have time for this. I'm growing up. my parents done snapped on me about this and that third or not, or my mama was cool, she knew I was able to handle it. No, shit, you goddamn got pregnant at an early age, you better handle this shit or not. I'm your mom, I'm your dad, I'm here for you, but if you can't handle that shit, you gonna goddamn see, you gonna goddamn get dealt with. That's what I'm saying. I mean, a lot of us got. It's a reason why people are called retarded and shit. I got cousins and shit that'll be like, I don't regret having sex with you, or this, that, and the third. Why? Cause we all we ever knew. I really come from a family full of retarded people, and it's up to us solely not to live out their identity. I don't take pride in that shit. They do, but people really do make money out coming from the ghetto and being dysfunctional and ratchet. We can't get stuck in the confines of that just because, we can go to shows and give our heart out and talk about how we grew up in the ghetto and Uncle Tone and them was out, blah, 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 blah. Niggas making money out there. That's why niggas really gonna stay stuck in their paradigm. Some of them teachers I grew up with knew that shit too. Yeah. Like, nigga, I might goddamn be ratchet as fuck, but I'm still getting paid, so it don't matter. I still got some type of success rate about my life. Some type of success about my life. That's how niggas be looking at that shit. So, with all that being said, there is a ghetto identity out here, and everybody I grew up around, pretty much has my deepest sympathy, to a certain degree. Like, niggas really gonna view you in a certain way. We women, we really gonna be viewed in a certain aspect, a certain way. I'm a woman, and women and men don't look the same. You can see a man smoke. It's all intellectualism. You play mind games with people. Some people will be like, I ain't never seen her smoke a cigarette. Or just because you smoking that cigarette, I seen you smoking that cigarette, you look old to me because I know that it's bad for you. You know what I'm saying? You can play mind games with people. You set yourself up for failure. That's what they was doing. Niggas was sitting there trying to, when I was a kid, I remember niggas trying to be superior to me. Like, niggas be like, when you was a kid, I used to give you cigarettes and shit behind your mom back and tell you was a junkie. When you're a kid, your mind is open to so much. And once you internalize it and apply it, you can apply it or not. I don't blame some of the men that I grew up around for trying to form superiority to me based off naturalism and based off what really just happened naturally so that they can, have some type of success in life. You know what I'm saying? You can use it against somebody when somebody has emotional downfall. Oh, she ain't counseling. That bitch a nervous wreck. Let's plot on her insecurities and get this shit over with. She ain't understanding that she need to be submissive and she need to be with a man. So let's goddamn manhandle this bitch. I'm in da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? I ain't all in people business, but I ain't got no social life. I seen that shit happen naturally. Like, nigga, really, everybody really just think they the realest. But, yeah, don't be fooled by these videos and shit. Life is very real for some people. It really is. You just never know who these people really are. That's how it is. Motherfucker talking about stacking G's and D's and shit. Fucking, people like T.I. and shit. That's how you gotta do that shit. If your daughter get raped by one of these G's or some shit like that because of this, that, and the third, all you can do is fight that shit out. If he got niggas on his side, you gotta make a choice. Niggas gotta cry their eyes out. Oh shit, my daughter done got robbed, raped. I can't just kill this nigga and his whole family, even though I want to, or this, that, and the third, whether I care or not. That's why I say this whole idea of naturalism. I'm not sure. Polygamy, broken homes. You got choices to make, men and women. What happens if you're a man and your daughter get raped by one of the G's? That's what you got to worry about as a woman. Am I really using my womanhood to my advantage? I got a masculine side, I could tell to some of these people, but some of these people I don't. And then, the men that actually stuck their penises in me are gonna view me as a goddamn weakling, perhaps, and just be like, "You're a woman, you strong, move forward with your life." But it just depends. Everybody ain't got tough skin. Everybody, some people do. It just not put on a pedestal. It just don't. It don't seem that way. And that's what I see with men. This is what I have to deal with men. Men be like, "Oh, she thinks she hard, da da da. She got tattoos, blah blah blah." You gotta worry about them. They gonna be trying to hit me where it hurt. They know that they were sitting there calling me a narcissist. Okay, so since you want to be in control of the situation, let me show her how much control I got. Let me trigger her narcissism. That's how they be looking at it. Let me trigger her to know that all right, now you want to be a man. Now you're exploring the reality of manhood. Now let me show you how I'm going to make my bitch fight you because we got loyalty. Or let me show you how much control I got. I think if you come from this whole ghetto mindset, that's what you got to worry about with being in a relationship with men. I mean, unless you respect somebody, you really, won't give them trouble. But some don't, like, shit, I don't respect you. Do y'all respect her? Nigga really goddamn forming bonds like that. Like, shit, I don't respect her. She thinks she hard. I don't want my goddamn people to be around her. Da, da, da. She's stubborn. Blah, blah, blah. No. I gotta make sure I made a contribution to some of these people. I mean, it's up to us as individuals to promote ourselves. With these people, some niggas really do just be living in their neighborhood and they have pride, and it shows, and they reap the benefits of that pride. Going to the club every day, they get a lot of attention for being confident, for working out, being cute, whatever the case is, and they really can develop status and financial financial status, financial success from people just showing them love. It's like either you respect me or you don't. I'm like, the reason why I take men so personally is because of the compliments that I've seen them get. I mean, that's why you got tomboys and shit. I'm like, it may be a bitch in a relationship with a man or a woman in a relationship with a man and be like, man, my nigga get way more pull than me, man. What can I do? I mean, we both are confident. We both look good, da 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 da. I'm like, I can't be confident knowing that my cousin had sex with me. I got treated like shit growing up, but they was showing me tough love to themselves. That's when you born into this world. If there's anybody that's looking, you will receive tough love to a certain degree. I really didn't like none of the boys that I grew up with, and all them, really is the reason why I can't feel secure, about the way I look and everything, because some of them niggas was saying, well, shit, I wouldn't talk to worry about all that. You know what I'm saying? You either goddamn da 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 da. And I'm like, half these niggas, they really, like I'm saying, you got to make a choice in life. I had to learn how to be positive, uplift people, because some people did perceive me to be disdainful. And I'm like, nah, man, when you really think about it, all of us ugly as fuck. Like, we ain't nothing to look at. Some of these videos just capture the moments of beautifulness. You know what I'm saying? Mostly the most beautiful thing about this earth really is the nature. Not the nature of human beings, but the nature. When I watch videos and stuff, I like the scenery. The way, like, I was watching Ugly Man, whatever the fuck the video is called. It's called Lick After Lick. I'm like, it really had like a sunbeam effect, sitting in the ghetto in a nigga sitting in a picnic chair laughing and chilling in a car. You had like a blue, the way that the sun was glaring in the video, it's like a blue greenish effect. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure anybody that shoot videos and very much into coloring and stuff like that will understand what I mean. It really gives you that vibe. Like you really in something. You ever seen Spy Kids where they had like some called a virtual room, where they pretty much stand in a four-corner room and it's a big TV screen and you sit, it's like IMAX theater. You just see every damn thing. You just big as fuck. My downfall is because of the shame and embarrassment of understanding, incest and all that, it's like it made me it made me feel ashamed of me. I can't change the fact that a cousin stuck his penis in me and sit like that. But sometimes in life you gotta make a choice. Like if you're born here and you really have to be used for a reverse psychological detox, because it is a bunch of people that could gang up on you and they don't even have to be that smart, but it would be a smart idea for them to be like, well shit, let's promote the idea that in this neighborhood that people are inbreds. Okay. Now, all right, all y'all look alike. Are y'all related? Do y'all have kids together? Anybody can ruin your reputation like that. People had the wrong perceptions about things, just like being a lesbian. There are some women that really do have a comfortable feminine identity. This is where I started overthinking. Because some women really do grow up. You're not being exploited in there. You just chilling in the neighborhood, and you might have a so-called boyfriend, and he don't view you as masculine. Nah, that was my boo thing. I grew up with her, but not even masculine. Like, nah, she masculine. She a tomboy and shit. We have fun together, but she was a girl to me. That's all I know. And then she might go somewhere else, and a woman might think, what I'm saying, the whole butch might think that girl is more masculine than her because of this, that, and the third. Then the shit becomes a competition. That's what you learn when you playing like ball and shit. That shit, it is. You gotta be competent, even with people you love. Motherfuckers would be like, confidence come from within. Motherfuckers are overlook how you gotta. It takes skill. This is the reason why I ain't confident. It takes skill. It takes skill to sit there and play basketball and really practice that shit every day. You get a sneak peek of what life is gonna be when you play. I played rec ball. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't say that it wasn't meaningless. It was not meaningless to me, because in reality, that's what it's teaching you. If you played ball for 4 to 6 months or some shit for a little basketball season, right, in school while you doing homework. First thing it shows you can multitask. Second thing it shows that you want to work out. Third thing it shows that how well do you work well with others. How will you respond to people belittling you? They take into consideration all of that shit. She doesn't respond well to people belittling her. She must have some type of insecurity instilled in her life. There's something that happened to her to where she's not feeling confident. That's what the hood is about. Like, niggas like, no, shit. I feel comfortable with my sexuality. I have sex with girls at an early age. I was a boy and shit. My dad found out I was having sex. He called her mom and told him. But at the same time, there is this identity for, the nigga mindset. Like, shit, I got the upper hand. Let me let this girl know, shit, my son had sex with your daughter. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm gonna be respectful and be like, nah, that shit. If I had a daughter, I want it to happen. But something like they say, it's typical to understand that. Like some niggas, it just depends on how much, what kind of upbringing you got. Some niggas be like, well, I wouldn't know how to raise no daughter. I can't say how I would feel. And sometimes that's what happens when you go to school. Sometimes at the end of the day, people will, I had people that I grew up around that really, you know, wanted advantages in life. And sometimes it takes people, it happens like that. That's what happens when you grow up and you're in school. It will get competent. Motherfucker be like, well then, since this, that, and the third, let's go ahead and plot on that, plot on this, plot on that. I'm trying to be somebody in life. Fuck this bitch. It works like that. That's what motherfuckers will be like. I'm like, I don't think nothing wrong with being mature, because that is something that you can do. Now, if you're stressing, you're stressing. But at the same time, that's what choice I had to make. Since motherfuckers be like, if you got a choice to make, I'm like, well, these motherfuckers really talking about they getting it off the muscle. I'm gonna have to shoot a couple of these motherfuckers up. I'm not playing with these folks. Because when you go to random neighborhoods, it could be a whole family staying in one neighborhood and shit. And I'm like, people really want to rep what they believe in. I'm like, I should be able to go anywhere I want to from an intellectual standpoint and just do this and then the third. It don't work like that. Niggas, it really is like that. Once I got older and realized niggas was fucking so-called correctional officers and shit like that, I'm like, psh. Well, if a man or a woman can show that they can, defend themselves physically, that's cool. But after that, that's where is respect come in. If I see a woman having a baby by a man, she naturally gonna respect him. And if they don't, then there's some dysfunctionality in their relationship. But that's what I worry about. As a woman, a male identity is what I wonder about. I'm like, they really winning over us. I'm like, I really wonder if this CEO, if I'm locked up with some shit, I'm not finna get the same privileges as baby daddy. I'm sitting here feeling childish as fuck. It come with the game though, It's just like being a rapper. These rappers ain't getting all these views because they dumb. I mean, they made mistakes. It's they express themselves. They express themselves, and it is what it is. Once motherfuckers have loyalty, they have loyalty. I have to be around. See, my thing is with this whole inferiority thing to men, I have to realize that there are men that relate. We gonna have to this co-ed thing. There are men that are chauvinists. There are men that are not chauvinists. There are men that just make connections with women regardless if they want to or not. And like they be saying, I can't give too much free game, but I'm like, at the end of the day, there are men that be like, well, I'm gonna be a chauvinist with you because I don't see you making strides to try to be strengthful. And I'm like, shit, I done fucked around. Motherfuckers could do that. I'm finna show you how much I trust my bitch. We gonna go on a lit together, and even though she a girl and y'all know y'all are being viewed as the weaker vessel, I'm gonna show how much I'm gonna show my bitch that I trust her. Like shit, I go and lick with my bitch. She better not letting that happen to me. You know what I'm saying? That's a notch knocked off my chauvinistic mentality. That's how that shit work. Like on some real shit. So, any woman in relation to men have my deepest sympathy. I got men that I grew up that really think that I'm weak because they stuck their penis in me. Or not. Or just be like, nah, I like the fact that this, that, and the third. It just depends on who you are. It's a shameful ideal. You know what I'm saying? I wanted me and my family members to be smarter than we are. I really do. Like, I'm like, that's why when I got around, I was in a program around the so-called trillionaire. I'm like, just listen, just Google rappers from the ghetto or some shit, and listen to them. Because in turn, they may be surviving dysfunctionality when you listen to their lyricism, but in turn, if you promote these people and they get around some people that can talk their knowledge is power. Intellectual. There might be people somebody that say something that you ain't never heard of, and you explore the idea, and it can shift your paradigm or create confidence in you or whatever the case is, to where you can find something better. Like it's like my mama being with my daddy. They were never married to my knowledge, but he could find somebody that really suits him. Or maybe this, then the third. Motherfucker be like, I didn't deserve it. It's all kind of avenues that that you can explore. I didn't deserve this person. I really was a money driven person. That's why I didn't get along with my baby mom, because I'm about my money. I don't give a fuck about her. She showed to have kids. It's all kind of situation. Like baby so say, you can get one and any more a situation. It's all kind of situations that can happen out here to where you're definitely, can be put on the back burner and it's on to the next. Like the Jay-Z song, on to the next, on. It definitely can happen like that. Learning psychology, understanding normal versus abnormal. People will know when you can tell when somebody is trying to be smart or is smart, because of certain things that they'll do. But everything can't be perfect. I mean, I'm not going to stop eating McDonald's just because it's fast food and, eating a lot of what they call garbage. It's not garbage. Some people have sentimental value to things, and you know what I'm saying. I use it to my advantage. Well, since I'm eating a lot of meat and shit, let me work out. McDonald's saved my life. Or McDonald's is the reason why I got a sense of legitimacy about my life. McDonald's is the reason why I like going to downtown Atlanta. McDonald's is the reason why I even go outside and socialize, creating for a better community and environment. It's just certain things that we've done. I'm like, look at all these buildings and shit. I'm like, man, I gotta contribute to society in some way. I feel like I ain't doing enough. I can tell, like, shit, I done did some shit out here, and I ain't trying to remember it. I'm trying to be an optimist, because I'm like, this shit real out here for me. Niggas will disrespect the fuck out your ass. It is people that will look at you in a certain aspect. I'm like, man, don't get that shit twisted. I will shoot the fuck out your ass and kill you and everything. Because at the end of the day, they'll niggas be running game. You know what I'm saying? That's the game that niggas be trying to run when it come to me. I'm like, well, shit, when motherfucker find out that I'm a victim of molestation or ancestral inbred and all that shit, they were like, shit, I'm gonna make people view her in a weak aspect, and I'm gonna be like, nah, that bitch got too much emotional baggage. Put me on the clock. I ain't gonna show all that sensitivity. You know, people expect that from us as women. That what I realized. I'm like, oh, she on her period. She crying. She a crybaby. He a crybaby. Nah, that bitch did something to me in middle school. Fuck that bitch. Get her off the clock. That's why I don't like these Creole people, because they really do have a ghetto identity. And then they be trying to act soft. That's the game that's being ran on me by these folks, because I really was a country bumpkin, and I really am viewing these people, putting these people on a pedestal, and I'm like, I really am gonna force your hand, because in reality you sitting here trying to act meek and humble, when in reality you ain't got no damn struggle to me, and these people are gonna judge me for my voice. They're gonna judge me for my personality. They're gonna judge me. They already viewing me as a weak person because of letting that happen to me. They're not gonna look at it like, nah, oh, I feel sorry for you. There were people that feel sorry for you, but who wants at the same time like, okay, it's enough feeling sorry for you, bitch. You ain't that far gone. You ain't, you know, Love is Blind Eve in the hospital with two busted eyes type shit. People can make shit look a certain way. Like a nigga whoop my ass, they want to look at it, you know, use your womanhood to your face. Nah, you a weak ass bitch. And then niggas try to encourage it like, nah, she goddamn took that shit like a G. Fuck that shit. Some of these women really want me to live out the role of womanhood, and at the same time, like I said, I'm looking at it like it's a weak role to play. So either I can goddamn take testosterone and turn myself into a man or not. Everybody can't pull it out. Like I'm saying, I'm so goddamn simple-minded. I be viewing, you can make yourself look a certain way. I'm like, if you really are a woman, want to look like a man, you're going to have to lose a lot of body fat to do it. The choice is mine. You really do. People will value you more when you do that. I think that's my thing. I'm like, you want that shit that come natural. It'll never come natural to some of these women. They got too much loyalty toward men, too much association with men. You know, and then I'm gonna be able to do about it. I'm like, if I really want to be a FTM, I'm going to have to lose a lot of body fat. I'm like, nah, I done had too many inferior moments. I had a man stuck his penis in me and break my hymen, and I think somebody told him to do that. I'm like, these girls really, I'm like, nah. And that's why I used to get mad, because that's how it is. I at one point I started calling random people, just dial random numbers and be like, can you come down here and help give love to these men, because I don't want them. Either you could do it or not. I want the people. That's what I do. I call somebody on a principles list. You got a reputation for being a good person, being an intellect. Either come down here and get me, or goddamn handle this shit for me. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, I'm about to shoot all these niggas dead. mm-hmm. I'm like, That's what I was wondering when I was a kid. I'm like, yeah, let's plot on that insecurity. She had an incestual relationships. I was saying watching video because people could take that for, but people can take that for a certain way. Like, nah, let me understand what kind of incestual relationship. Do you still look at? Let's plot on that insecurity. There are people that really want to be smart. That's why they won't retaliate or do nothing crazy because they understand the advantage that they may have over you. That's why I used to get so mad because I had developed anger issues because of that shit. And that's why I used to get so mad because at the end of the day, at some point it seemed like my family members gave up on life and they really don't give a fuck. I'm like, all my family members really want to be in healthy relationships in reference to others, and we don't have a good social scene, social life. And there was a girl that was sitting there doing all this shit. She was really talking about, some girl told me, you moving like a queen pin. Like, when you really think of the idea of being from the ghetto, sometimes your family can represent that shit and you be in denial about that shit. Like, yeah, we really from the ghetto. We grew up like this. Niggas really be sitting in the trap. It may seem like a simple thing, but it's not. Like, I was seeing this nigga I was locked up with. They called him Putt Putt on off the porch, and he was saying, "Yeah, I like that song on the corner, pots and stove." Some little shit that represent basically waking up in the trap or waking up in the house. Some like when you listen to the titles of these songs, you really can relate to it. Like, yeah, pots and stove, pot stove. That sounds like shit I like. No. They might cook it good grits and eggs, or they cooking grits and eggs. You know what I'm saying? Both ways, drugs, whatever. Oh yeah, stepping out the porch. You know what I'm saying? It was some song he was saying. I was looking at the interview where he was just like, nah, it's some shit I fuck with called Flick with the Wrist, goddamn, stepped out the stool today, or some shit like that he was saying. That's how niggas be. That's the reason why I started putting this lifestyle on the pedestal, because I'm realizing when it comes to literature, niggas really can put some shit together, and I really envy the natural confidence that these niggas had. That was the fucked up part about my womanhood, which got me looking fucked up out here. Because I had to be mature and I had to realize that I really was that girl that could have been killed over intellectualism. Nah, they inbreds. Fuck them. Nah, fuck that. Because if bad things happen to good people, that mean that they're like, don't let people step all over you. I'm not. That's just how it happened. You know what I'm saying? Some people really do what they say, first impression is the last impression. Some people can walk in a school and think a child is getting bullied because they see somebody walking past somebody disrespecting them, but you'll never know. I never knew if they was doing that shit intentionally or not. When I was a kid, I was an intellect. When I seen a bunch of hyperactive kids, I thought they work out a lot. They doing their thing. I wasn't taking that shit as disrespect. But that's why you gotta be careful, because some people really were my downfall in life. A lot of motherfuckers put negative connotations and you start on your mind and you start to stress about the shit. Like, motherfuckers be like, well, Gina was our downfall with you. You was a kid and of course you did have sex at an early age, you viewed yourself submissive and went ahead and just kept doing it or not. But this motherfucker was making a big deal out of it because so and so and so and so. Making a mockery out of the idea. That's you as an intellect, you can make a mockery out of somebody and plot on their emotional downfall if they're sensitive about something, because that can show that you have superiority over them, and you can. Somebody will be like, man, that bitch too sensitive. Let me come take her job. Or that nigga too sensitive. It worked like that. At first glance, that's what people really thought. People really thought I was being bullied. I didn't even think that's actually a charge. I'm like, that's how I knew there were more people that weren't being taught tough love. On my daddy's side, I don't even think they was trying to teach me tough love. I kind of learned that myself, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you cry and tear up about. There will be people that won't sympathize and you won't get that positive energy, and you will have to experience what they call stress. That's what I used to get so mad at the idea of the present, man. Because some people can really just see you for a spare of the moment. Like when you work at these jobs, it could be somebody from corporate come in and just watch you see trash all over the floor, and they'll think you'll never clean up, but you be the main one doing it. That's how shit works. That's why they want you to move fast. They teach you physical education. Because if a motherfucker see you moving fast and you still got trash all over the floor, they be like, nah, they probably do clean up. They just ain't got to it. That's the difference. Timing and all that shit. Whole time when you, that's how motherfuckers think. Motherfuckers be like, nah, she no lazy woman. That girl walk home every day. Motherfuckers can look at that shit like that, take shit. Motherfuckers can see. You know what I'm saying? When I was a kid, I remember somebody made comment about that, about how I was stressing because of this, that, and the third, and I'm like, I don't know if it was done intentionally. I never knew if it was done intentionally, but after people having sit downs with me, I realized that it was done intentionally. Because you never know. A smart person kind of thinks skeptically. You kind of not hesitate, but you kind of like try to be an optimist if you do experience stress. And that's what really happened. I'm like, motherfuckers really trying to be direct with me and disrespect me. Or maybe they were planning on the insecurity of what was real. Like, okay, there is a such thing as being bullied. There is a such thing as being belittled. Motherfucker, like, you need the approval of a man. I can tell by the way you act that you have. I was telling somebody, like, I feel as though that manhood is really, I'm really being defeated by this. Some of these men are getting off on this. But I'm thinking too hard about this shit. Motherfucker, like, nah, you were getting bullied. Nah, these are hyperactive kids. They putting in work in their bodies. That's what niggas will do. If the fate of your life leads you to have inferior moments to men, they can use that shit against you. Nah, you just feel inferior to me. You work out just like I do. And that's what I was realizing with some of them men. I started really taking my inferior moments to the heart. And I didn't want to do that. I really tried not to. And that's exactly what happened. Niggas was like, man, she can't fuck with me. Not on the b-ball court, not this, not that. You can't look like me. I'm sitting here realizing the difference between man and womanhood. And that's the cons of learning. Once you realize, based off the fate of your life, that there may be stigmas placed on womanhood, you can get away with shit like shit. If I go to goddamn Uganda, or if I go to goddamn Wyoming, women are being viewed in this aspect. There are some men that think that the reason why, the if a woman admits that she feels inferior to the man, from an intellectual perspective, would naturally think that, okay, I'm the reason why you're a butch. Makes perfect sense to me. That's how it is. But there are some people, you know what I'm saying? I can tell you got emotional baggage. You talk too much. You hold a lot in. You've been through a lot. That's what a cognitive overload basically represents. It represents the fact that you've had a lot of negative energy balled up in your goddamn head, and that's just what it is. Like, niggas be like, nah, the girl feel inferior to me. I know some women that I don't think feel inferior to me. Some men will develop a natural chauvinistic mentality because I put in work to be strengthful. I put in work. When I go, there are men that's what they want. I'm gonna take up paradigms of man. I know some people that actually put in work in boxing. I know some women that really just do this shit. I don't think twice about defending myself as a man. That's what the men did. They were like, nah, let's keep on torturing her about the fact she thinks she feel inferior to a man. Let's keep it that way. Shit, I'm getting off on this because I can go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers is not unaware. You can have kids and shit, and you can fly overseas, and somebody could try your whole family up, the Taliban or some shit, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just colloquially speaking. You know how they say about, like, in Iran, this interpretive idea, this that it's just a bunch of bombing, suicide bombers and shit. I go over there and somebody try to snatch my kids, so all I got is my body and my soul to fight for them. That's how niggas think. I'm like, nigga really just want to have a baby mama or a girlfriend. That's what the males in my life attack. They attack my nature as a woman. They took that shit and instilled in confidence in me. So now I can't take confidence in my reverse psychological idea of being a man. Nigga be like, I don't gotta use reverse psychology. I don't blame them. I just gotta live. Motherfuckers want you to show respect. That's how they do. They want to be petty. Do you respect this, that, and the third? Recycling and stuff. I take that shit into consideration. Be like, well, some people recycle. What's wrong with having trash? Motherfucker just be playing mind games with you. I go to the bathroom at Walmart and be like, man, it probably really ain't as many workers in here as it seems, or maybe are people really just being lazy like that? Shit, this ain't my house. Look better than this shit. I ain't even worried about it. Motherfucker just built the building. We're gonna sell these items. That's what I'm here to do. Being a manager. Them folks don't need me. It's either you like McDonald's or you don't. That's what they provided me with, work experience. Well, if you can grasp the attention of the consumers, then they'll probably keep you hired. That's how it pretty much worked. I never really got fired because at the end of the day, motherfuckers have emotional attachment. Do you really want to fire somebody? I ain't scared to fire nobody. Will this person bring in a certain level of attention? It's not even about that though. In life, especially once you sin or you done gave up or you done gave in, you really gotta just play that shit how it go. That's when you start using slogans like that. That's how you know you ain't been up to no good. When you start having the goddamn poetic justice. That's exactly what that shit is. When you do shit, justification, poetic justice, that's exactly what that shit means. We finna justify this shit with goddamn creativity. That's exactly what all these moves and shit represent. Why is it that I can watch Hustle and Flow and see a nigga just chilling in the hood? That shit mean a world to the average nigga from Memphis. I know. Cause it mean a world to me. To just be sitting in my house knowing that somebody down the street just living like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just a representation of everyday life. Motherfuckers just living in a room, chilling. And then it's certain ways you can speed up the camera or certain pixels that the camera can have to make it look like a movie. That shit is beautiful. But shit, I'm off work for the next 2 days, so I guess I'll be reading words until my goddamn head understands them and just move forward my life. 30 years old, doing my motherfucking thing, chilling.